What's up, guys? Welcome back. Special edition. Got Chaz in here. Before we get into this, all this is a hypothetical, so opinions are welcome here. But we're gonna give our opinion on the Dejounte Murray situation, and if that actually does make sense for the Pelicans to look into a trade for Dejounte Murray. So let's get into it.
First took away. That's what this get your money's worth.
All right, here with Chaz. What's up, brother? So we've been
How you
we've been
doing,
going
man?
back. We're good. I'm good. We've been going back and forth a lot with texting. And it came out that Dejounte Murray may be on the trading block. These are all hypotheticals. No one really knows exactly, right? And a report came out saying 3 first-round picks and maybe some other assets. Well, the Pelicans do have that in the war chest. They still got some Bucks picks, and they obviously have some Lakers picks. But want to bring you on because you feel pretty strongly about this situation. If Dejounte Murray does make this team better, and there's been some. Listen, I think a lot of people have had some really good opinions. I've gone back and forth with a lot of people that have had good opinions, but I want to get your opinion because I think you're the guy that you don't care, right? You speak your truth, and I'm gonna get into it. So Pelicans do get first off. I want to make this very clear. I'm not giving up Trey or Herb. Now I don't know about you.
Oh, absolutely not.
I am not giving them up.
Absolutely not.
Trey Murphy and Herb Jones are on the team with Dejounte Murray.
Right.
Okay. So I'm glad we got that. So one of the big things I've been getting back is, well, Herb Jones has to move to the bench in order for Dejounte Murray to start. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Herb is an incredible talent, right?
Yes.
He was a critical piece to the team's success this year. And I think he's righted a few draft mistake wrongs, right? He's kind of balanced the sheet a bit. But Dejounte Murray is a bona fide all-star. The man is a night in, night out, triple-double threat. You remember, not just for his leadership ability for us, Rondo. You remember prime Rondo in Boston? Yeah. How people were like, "Oh, we wish we had a guy like that." This is a guy like that. This is a guy who he's arguably the best point guard aside from Luka in the division, in the Southwest Division. The guy is incredible. The guy's incredible.
Would you say division or the league? Because
division.
Let's honestly, okay,
division. Yeah, division.
Okay.
Right. The guy's incredible. He's young. He's still blossoming into a great player. He's not surrounded by a bunch of talent. He's not on that Spurs team that had Timmy, Tony, Manu. The guy's been incredible. He kept the Spurs afloat all season, almost single-handedly, right?
Right.
Herb's incredible, but when you have a chance, the window for championships are this tiny for small market teams. This tiny, because you're never going to get those marquee free agents. You're never going to get super popular, players to agree to come to your market. So when you got a chance to acquire a guy for pretty cheap, he's on a really cheap contract. Also, 3 picks is nothing. 3 picks is nothing for a talent like this. And he's a better player than Drew was at the point you traded Drew Holiday. He's a bona fide all-star. Drew was an all-star in his Philly days, but that was a very long time ago.
That's an interesting take. I mean, so look, I agree with you. I think that Dejounte Murray is a special talent. I mean, he's a guy at 99. I mean, averaged 21, 9, and 8 this year. He's a top 15 defensive rated player in the league, guarding in the guard position. A lot of people have come back. They're like, well, Herb's got to start, and Herb can't. Herb has to start. Can't come off the bench. I don't really necessarily care about starting lineups because it happens for 5 minutes a night. Am I saying I still think Herb Jones get 35 plus minutes a night? I really do with Dejounte Murray. And what people aren't putting in perspective is, how could you imagine a death lineup to close out a game with Herb Jones at your 5 and Dejounte? You got Dejounte, CJ, BI, Zion, and Herb. And and then if Herb doesn't have it, Trey Murphy. There's just so many options that I think people are like, well, people are really worried about, well, how are you going to pay him in 2 years? And we're going to get into that too. But let's talk about the next point I've gotten back. High usage. He's a high usage guy. There's only one basketball Well, Dejounte Murray was 4th in the league in assists. And they ran the offense through him and so on and so forth.
Right.
When you got BI, Zion, CJ, that makes life easier for them. You know, I got back and forth with Tyler, who I really respect. He has a lot of good opinions. He was saying you don't want to take the ball out of their hands. Well, I think if Dejounte Murray is facilitating like Rondo did 3 or 4 or 5 years ago when we swept the Trailblazers, that makes life easier for those guys. But go ahead. What are your thoughts on that? High usage talk?
He could realistically average 12 assists in this offense. And also, just like people say things like, well, you don't really know if CJ can facilitate because he didn't really have to because he had Dame. You don't really know if Dejounte Murray would be willing to be a lower usage player and not worry about scoring as much because he had to score in San Antonio. Also, you can't be so this is totally contradictory. You can't say, well, things like, because people are saying like, well, you know, you can't bench Herb, you know, he has to start. That's an antiquated idea, right? Because you're focusing on the starting five. You're not necessarily focused on finishing or minute distribution, right? But in the same breath, you'll say, well, it's all about positionless basketball. Okay, you're either a progressive basketball thinker to where positions don't matter, or you're antiquated to where, it's all about who starts the game. Who starts the game is not who finishes the game. Like, you know, it's about skill sets. Dejounte Murray is an incredible defensive player, incredible offensive player. And in the playoffs, this is still a guard and wings league. You're going to need a dynamic guard who can break down defenses, dribble penetration, facilitate, set up guys like BI, set up guys like Zion. We can't even do a bounce entry pass, a post entry pass, pocket pass. We can't do it. Like, it's crazy.
Do you think this team, honest opinion, just yes or no, do you think this team needs a true point guard? Does it matter?
Yes.
Why? Because you do have. Let me kind of reiterate, because CJ, Brandon, and Zion can bring the ball up the court, right? So they're a point guard. Why does Dejounte Murray? I guess if he's an actual point guard, why does he elevate the team?
I think because when you look at a point guard's duties, right? Point guards understand timing, circumstance, foul trouble. Like, they just understand, they have a firm, that is the quarterback on the floor. And when you look at even our veterans, you know what I'm saying, not to say anyone's name, you know, especially, but our veterans, they don't always have a firm understanding of what's happening on the floor, right? Because they're focused on scoring most of the time. Mm-hmm. And with a lot of guys on our roster, well, I'll say with CJ especially, and Zion up until this point, because we don't know how Zion's progressing, right? But the last time we saw Zion, even, you know, Zion, those are two guys that if they aren't scoring, they can't really do anything else. Like, CJ's not going to go grab 10 rebounds and get you 12 assists and defend the other guy, say, I don't have it tonight. I'm just going to shut this other guy down. He can't do that, right? And people are worried about Herb. Honestly, I see more scenarios where CJ is not finishing games if you acquire Dejounte Murray, because, you know, that's a controversial take, but I mean, that's
why I have you on here. It's an interesting take, but go ahead.
Like, you know, because CJ is the only guy to me who doesn't have position versatility. CJ is not going to guard up. Like, you know what I'm saying? CJ is not going to, like, all right, y'all, you know, everyone run. I'm a box out and get these boards, and I'm just going to focus on facilitate. It's like, not that we know, not that he can't do it. We just haven't seen it. We can only go by what we've seen.
Okay, what are your thoughts then? Because I posed this question today because I think with the way Stan Van Gundy used Zion and the point Zion, you know, scenarios a couple of years ago, will Willie Green use Zion the same way? That's something we don't know about yet, right? Well, Zion maybe plays on the block more a little while. I don't know. Maybe he brings the ball up. Maybe he goes pin down. Maybe he goes off ball action. I don't know the way. To say he's not a fit though, without seeing it, I think is unfair. I mean, I don't know yet. Like, is he a fit? I don't know. I haven't seen it. But for you to say he's not a fit, you're not right in that sense. Like, you can't be right in that sense either. No one knows.
Yeah, you can't even realistically say Zion's a fit because we don't even know. Like we never seen these guys play together. No one's a fit until they're together. Everything is in theory. Like you know what I mean? So like also with point with point Zion, look, it was box office. It was effective for that period, but ultimately, that team didn't really win. And on top of that,
Yep, they didn't win. No.
yeah, yeah. And Brandon fucking hated Point Zion. Like he didn't like it
Well,
allegedly.
Point Zion is very effective late in the game when you need a bucket.
Right.
Like, hey,
Right.
it's a possession game. Give me
Right.
Point Zion. Get the fuck out of my way
Right.
and let him go. If
Right.
defense collapses, he kicks. If
Right.
the defense doesn't collapse, he plays bully ball. He gets a bucket.
Right.
You can't have it for 48 minutes. Okay.
No, you're gonna burn.
2K.
You're gonna burn a guy
Right.
who's been limited defensively so far. You're gonna burn him.
Right. So Zion, like, yes, he's a ball handler and he's somewhat of a point guard, but he's not your point guard, right? So, like,
Right.
I just don't like that argument. I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah.
I just don't necessarily like it. The next problem.
Yeah.
The next problem people have. Dejounte Murray is not much of a shooter. His 3-point percentage is like 32-something%. I actually looked a little bit more in the analytics, which I can't believe I actually did that today. I hate it. But, yeah, he actually shot like 36% and 40% from the left and right wings. His corner threes are not good. From the right corner, he's pretty good. From the left corner, he's not. And from the top of the key, he's not. Is that a big deal that he's not much of a shooter, I guess?
No. And I'll tell you why it's not a big deal. Because again, it's all people are full of contradictions. You either believe in Fred Vincent or you don't. All right. You just drafted a guy who you hope and pray turns into Dejounte Murray, who you would be thrilled. And if he turned into Dejounte Murray. And the reason you're okay with that, and I wasn't, is because people say, oh, well, you got Fred Vincent. Okay, cool. You either believe in him or you don't. And again,
right.
DeJounte gives you so many more things offensively and defensively that you got to think about the matchups in the playoffs, right? Okay, let's say he's not hitting the shot. If he's not hitting the shot like I spoke to earlier, there's other things he can give you. He can attack the boards, he can play defense, he can facilitate. If CJ is not hitting this shot, we saw the result of that. We saw what happened with that. He was.
And listen,
taller,
I like CJ. We talk about this possession all the time. I love CJ McCollum. I love what he's bringing. I love what this is not a knock on CJ. I want everyone to understand that. I love CJ McCollum. I love what he's on this team. I want him here for a long time.
Right.
Last possession of the game, or when last possession of the game, but it was game 6. Yeah. We're down 3 or 2. I think we're down 3. There's 20-something seconds left. CJ's bringing the ball up, gets fucking ripped. Ball game over. Season's over.
Yeah, it's the game. Right. And
is it different with Zion? Maybe it's different with Zion. I'm just saying.
Maybe.
When people say we have a point guard, we don't really have a point guard.
Right. And to expect CJ to be he would have to pretty much transform as a player and take away you don't want to hurt guys' skill sets just so they can fit into a box. Yeah, go ahead.
What is CJ's skill set on offense? He's a really good what? He can really shoot the basketball.
Yeah. He's
a sniper, correct?
Yeah.
So I would want to make life easier for that guy,
right?
And kick it out and just shoot wide open threes. He actually averaged 1 3-point attempt less being in New Orleans than he was in Portland. I think 2 years ago he averaged 9 3-pointers, 9 3-point attempts. Last year in Portland he averaged like 8.2, and then got traded to New Orleans and averaged 7. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Well, because he was trying to facilitate and create for others.
Right.
I'd rather have Dejounte Murray or Jose Alvarado. Why was Jose Alvarado so effective? Because he created for others. That's what I like about Dejounte Murray. I don't know if Dejounte's a fit.
And the crazy thing is the things we love in certain players, like the things we love about Jose and Herb, not only does DeJounte already do that, he already does it better. So it's like, again, what do you want? Like, do you want to be, because you could be the cool team, that Grizzlies grit and grind team, bunch of role players, and the guys who you're always a cool second round team, first round, second round exit team, or you could be the Toronto Raptors and say, you know what, we got a chance to do something, right? We have a chance to do something, and we don't necessarily have to pillage our team to do it. So let's go for it. And I just think, given the Pelicans alone, the benefit of the doubt, like the rest of the league isn't going to approve. Because what are you going to do if the Clippers say, "Hey, you know what? We like Dejounte Murray. We'll put together a package for him." And the Spurs are like, "All right, just give us Luke Kennard." This is any type of package, any type of team that are already or Dallas, any type of team that's already kind of like above you or has achieved more than you. You can't just think they're not going to improve and you're going to have all this internal growth, because that's the best case scenario situation. That doesn't always happen like that. It rarely happens like that, in fact.
One statement I got a lot of, Chaz. I've got like 5 more minutes left, but one statement I got a lot about is this team's a championship contending team right now. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, if everyone else in the West gets injured, yeah, of course. I mean, if the Clippers have a year like they had last year, it's possible. But it's, again, man, Justin, you hear me in the spaces all the time. The biggest thing I'm about is context. I'm all about context, right? You saw, and man, I feel like we're beating up on this guy, but CJ from the LA Clippers game where Paul George didn't play, and we also was down 16 points at one point before the miracle Willie Green speech, the glory
Right.
Willie Green speech. It's like, yo,
Right.
we could have lost that game. Like we probably should have lost that game if Paul George played. Like we could have. Like it was a real possibility, right?
Okay.
And you saw how, and even in the Sun series, it's like, yeah, all of this stuff was cool, but the fact is, Devin Booker got hurt. You really have no idea how your team matches up against, well, in the 2 games Devin Booker played, we were getting our asses kicked. So you really have no idea how your team is going to match up against marquee talent.
But let me go against you here real quick, because in game 2, we did beat the shit out of him, and Devin Booker was on the floor there. I know he got hurt in the third quarter and things could have changed in the fourth. So, I understand where you're going with that. I do think, but back to the original point, because I'm trying to play good cop, bad cop. We don't know what we have with Zion. We don't know if
we have no idea.
Maybe this team is 20 wins better with Zion. I have no idea.
Right.
And they probably are. Probably are.
It's very possible.
But Chaz, I'm from the city, born and raised. I've never left it. I followed this team for 20 plus, however long they've been here. There's never been more of an exciting time than right now. Probably back in the Peja Stojakovic, CP, David West days.
Yeah.
But right now, I feel like there's a time. I don't know if Dejounte Murray's the answer, but I do agree that you have a shot, a legitimate shot right now.
Right.
Is Dejounte Murray the answer? I have no idea. But I'm willing to explore.
Right. It's like
to say no, that he's not going to help the team and he's not a fit. Yeah. I can't agree with that. I just can't.
This isn't, people seem to think this is like us getting James Posey or trading Tyson Chandler for fucking Emeka Okafor. This is not that. This guy is a bona fide player who gives you multiple things on the court at a very high level, right? Like, I think some of our optimism, and I understand it, because you always want to see things glass half full, especially as it pertains to your team. But you're presuming Zion is going to come in and be a top 10 guy off the bat. Brandon's going to graduate to maybe top 15 guy. CJ is going to fit nicely into that third role. He's going to make his free throws this year. He's going to be, everybody's going to improve defensively, and that's cool. That could happen, but that doesn't mean you don't increase your chances or improve your chances to go get a Dejounte Murray. And I don't know if you had this as a point, but as far as the picks go and giving up draft assets and things of that nature, dude, you only got 15 roster spots. You can't play everyone. You can't pay everyone. And the longer you hold on to these picks, they depreciate. Everyone thought Boston was going to make this big swing for this incredible player because they got all of these draft assets. And what happened? they all turned to dust. Like the clock struck 12. So
I think a lot of people, a lot of fans have PTSD with Dell Demps, right? Dell Demps always went for the home run swings, but Dell Demps never. I mean, his biggest signings were Solomon Hill, Omer Ashik, and Alexis Ajinka. Whatever.
Yeah, he wasn't like a talent evaluator.
The moves weren't like. I think Griff's moves are actually lately have been very intelligent.
Right.
The last thing I did want to mention before we get off is that we talk about, well, a lot of people ask, well, are you willing to pay him $30 million or whatever and when he's a free agent in 2024? These next 2 years, you got CJ McCollum on the books, and then he's off in 2024. Right. Once again, love CJ McCollum. He'll be 33, I think, 33 or 34 by the time he's a free agent, along those lines. Is there CJ keeps saying he wants a ring, he wants to do whatever he wants. Right. I don't necessarily know if I make that hometown discount, right? I can't expect the guy to do that. You go get your money however you get your money, like JJ Redick did. I mean, maybe he leaves. Yeah. I don't know. But I feel like Dejounte Murray's a pretty damn good fucking replacement.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and I mean, I've made no secret my feelings about Dyson Daniels. Again, I feel like you're at a point where people say, "Oh, the big three is dead now." It's like, it's not about having a big three necessarily. It's about having as much talent as possible and giving yourself a chance, like a realistic chance, and not hoping someone twists their ankle or hoping someone else in the playoffs gets hurt and then you can take advantage. It's CJ, he's gonna be 33.
And there's a chance he comes back on a discount or you get him a good deal. Who knows?
It's a chance, but he's also the president of the basketball, Players Association, so he might be looking at it, but he might be looking at it like he don't want to set a bad precedent. But also, I don't give a fuck if he comes back or not. I don't like personally. I just can't.
It matters to me. It matters to me, Chaz, because I do like him a lot, and I think he's been a great ambassador for the city and like has changed things around. So I don't want to lose that.
Yeah,
so I really like him there. It's just, at what point, right? At what point do we all collectively like, you know what? Let's just go all in. Let's just see it through, right?
Especially if you don't have to sacrifice core guys. You know what I mean?
It's not like you're losing Herb or Trey
or B.I. Zion. Like being realistic, JV is not a part of your core. Like, Larry Nance is not a part of your core. Those guys are nice pieces, and if you win with them, great. But those are around the edge like high-end role player types of guys,
Right. Who knows? Like, I don't know. I'm a little animated by it because I just want to see what it's like, right? I'm not saying like the team's gonna be pretty freaking good with or without Dejounte Murray. They're gonna be really good. I have no questions about that.
I'll say this, right? Because I think the Raptors are the guys who showed you what you do every time, right? The Raptors showed, and also you're not just trading for Dejounte Murray. It's kind of like you're trading for people, like also guys who see, oh shit, they got Dejounte Murray, Zion, B.I., and CJ and this. Yeah, I'll come take a minimum deal there. I'll come do this. I'll come do that. Why not? And
those names like PJ, I'm not saying PJ Tucker, but the names of like PJ like Tuckers of the world. Yeah, now like New Orleans is a destination.
The Joe Johnson, like, when Joe Johnson was like toward the end, guys like that, microwave type guys. And also, man, again, with Toronto, DeRozan was a great ambassador for that city. Incredible player. I know it hurt to get rid of him, but I guarantee you, no one was crying at the championship parade saying, man, I wish DeRozan could have been a part of this. Maybe, but at the end of the day, people were happy Kawhi came, and they're going to be living off that parade for the next, or that championship for the next 10, 12 years. So, hey.
I'm looking around my office. I don't have it.
The Saints
fans have been living off this 2009 Super Bowl like it happened yesterday. I'm just saying, I completely agree. No one in Toronto is complaining right now. I'll tell you that. And those Saints fans, the only reason why Saints fans are complaining is because of the fucking Nolan No call.
Yeah.
That's the reason why we're complaining.
We felt like we could have got more out of it. But no one's advocating for anyone to leave. We love CJ. He's meant a lot. He's even probably mended a few relationships. Everyone feels good about CJ. But that doesn't mean you stop there. It doesn't mean you stop there. You got to keep building, keep giving yourself a chance. Because if you think this team is good, then fuck. What do you need draft picks for? What do you need those future picks for? This team is good, right? You're set.
Small market. I mean, but you said it earlier, right? Small market, and you don't want to ever give up the future in a small market. And we're not a destination, things like that. But I feel like you have as you said earlier, you have a small window where you can, like, go look at any small market teams. I mean, OKC's been really bad for a long time now. They're just winning assets. Well, they'll get better. The Pelicans have, but OKC went all in when obviously their draft picks of Durant, Harden, and Westbrook was incredible. Yeah. Right, but they tried. They
went for it. All you can do is give yourself a chance, man. And like this one final point I wanted to say, as it pertains to, like, people seem to think that guys like Kevin Durant is like a real option. People like that. It's like, yo, that's not a realistic option. You have a certain tier of guys that you have a realistic chance of acquiring via trade. You want to keep CJ? Then Dejounte Murray's in that tier. Karl Anthony Towns is not in that tier. Like, you know what I'm saying? Kevin Durant's not in that tier. Like, Ben Simmons, when he was, like, viewed as a high-end guy, he's not in that tier. Like, you have to be realistic on how your team has avenues to improve and your team's bandwidth. So I just think people are a little unrealistic, and I think it's setting up some really interesting expectations for this season.
Look, and listen, maybe we're being unrealistic about the Dejounte Murray, but to just, like, I can't believe the outcry of just shooting an all-star player down and saying not a fit. Like, whoa, we got to, like, take a step back and be like, this guy is averaging 21, 9, and 8. Like, he's going to elevate your team. I've seen Willie Green, what he's done. Imagine him with Dejounte Murray.
Imagine an elite guard play.
Yeah,
on this team.
Team hasn't had that in a while, but no, it was fun, man. Hopefully we get to do this again.
Most definitely.
Appreciate you jumping in, man. Once again, presented by Company Burger and DraftKings. Don't kill us in the mentions, all right? Everyone has their own opinions. Respect everybody's opinions.
Yeah,
I do want to see y'all's opinions. Drop them down in the comments. If you agree, disagree, let us know. Appreciate y'all. Have a good